Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Cricket Rockstar Plus Show. I'm your host Tyrelle Audain, your handsome cricket rockstar, and we're getting on with it immediately. We're starting off with the afternoon game involving Spain and Austria as the Spaniards outclassed the Austrians comprehensively by 3-0. Right from the opening whistle, Spain dictated the entire rhythm of the evening, looking entirely comfortable while keeping the opposition completely under the thumb. Mikel Oyarzabal was the star of the show for the Spaniards, delivering a magnificent double to break down any Austrian resilience, while Pedro Porro added the finishing touches to what was a dominant team display from Spain. Incidentally, Pedro Porro's first goal happens to be his first international goal and his first ever World Cup goal, to be honest. Austria, they did give an honest account of themselves right throughout the World Cup journey, but today it wasn't their day. They simply ran into absolute machine in the likes of Spain that refused to let them settle for a second. Then came the big blockbuster match of the evening into the night over in Toronto, Canada, as an absolute nail-biter took place between Portugal and Croatia that ended 2-1 in favour of the Portuguese in what turned out to be an exciting but controversial, thrilling finish. And the tension inside the stadium was thick enough to cut with a knife here as the clock was ticking away in dramatic fashion. The first half was very tense, cagey affair where neither team wanting to blink first, but the second half exploded into life where Ivan Perisic caught the defense sleeping to give Croatia a surprising 1-0 lead. Then there's the old saying that says, never write off the greatest at your absolute peril, because the iconic number 7 stepped up to the plate exactly when the Portuguese supporters wanted some heroics. And I'm talking about number 7, Cristiano Ronaldo. The Portuguese captain hammered home a crucial penalty to level matters at 1-1, writing another historic chapter in becoming the oldest individual in the history of the FIFA World Cup knockout stage to score in this particular phase of the tournament. And just when the whole football world were bracing themselves for an extra 30 minutes, given that the scores would deadlock at 1 apiece, Gonçalo Ramos, he rose to the occasion in grand fashion in the 94th minute, the 4th minute of stoppage time, sending the thumping header into the back of the net to secure a thrilling victory for Portugal and breaking the hearts of many Croatian fans across Europe and the entire globe. But the drama did not stop there, ladies and gentlemen, because before we even get to that, a few goals in the Portugal-Croatia game were disallowed because the players were offside. But in the dying minutes of stoppage time, or should I say overtime in stoppage time, a few minutes after stoppage time was supposed to come to an end, or should I say the 16th minute, 6 minutes after stoppage time was supposed to be concluded, Croatia equalized only for video assistant referee, the VAR, to overturn the goal. And if I be honest with you, that was 50-50. But let me be very honest. Why wasn't the referees watching the time of the clock? Why would you allow extra time in stoppage time for whatever reason? Like, seriously, it could have gone either way. It could have gone extra time or even worse to penalties, or it could have ended in favor of Portugal. But in the end, Portugal came back from 1 goal down to defeat Croatia to set up a big showdown with Spain in the round of 16. You really have to feel sorry for Luka Modric and Croatia, because yet again, FIFA, VAR and Gino Infantino saved Portugal and Ronaldo's career from going up in flames. But again, questions must be asked about VAR, because I find with VAR, just like with the decision review system, the DRS in cricket, it's inconsistent, especially with all the technology you have. Look, for example, there were a couple of calls that had to be overturned ridiculously, in my opinion. Yesterday's game with Senegal and Germany was so controversial enough, or should I say Belgium, I beg your pardon, because Paraguay knocked out Germany. The Belgium-Senegal game could have gone to penalties had the referee had played on the advantage rather than going to VAR, because really it wasn't a bad tackle. It wasn't bad enough to give the referee the call for the penalty. Like, seriously, I find Senegal was robbed there. Iran, the worst of all, they were robbed really bad. They should have been in the round of 32 instead of one of the other teams. But VAR and FIFA continues to jackass the scene big time. But over in Vancouver, Switzerland absolutely bossed the heck out of Algeria. From the word go all the way to the end, they easily defeated Algeria comfortably by 2-0. The Swiss came in this match with a very clear, steady plan, while Algeria looked completely out of sorts from the beginning. And honestly, the lack of necessary desire to survive a do-or-die match really got over the occasion of Algeria, and hence the reason why they lost this game. The early burst from young star Johan Mazambi set up Bril Ibolo for a simple tap-in just 10 minutes into the first half, and right after the break in the second half, a massive defensive blunder from Algeria allowed Dan Ndongle to smash home the second goal, essentially wrapping up the contest and securing Switzerland's spot in the final 16. Incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, this was Switzerland's first FIFA World Cup knockout victory over 88 years. Imagine that. 88 years it took Switzerland to win a knockout game at the World Cup. Meanwhile, on Wednesday in Los Angeles, California, the co-host, the United States of America, handled business in a very tough manner, defeating a very tough Bosnia and Herzegovina by 2-0. While people might say it was professional, it was controversial at times for the wrong reasons, but we're not here to talk about any controversy. But I'll say this, the Americans, despite all the political drama that those MAGA cons have been creating, they showed serious composure early on. They broke the deadlock right before the halftime period, where Fulani Balogun capitalized on a great opportunity to put the home crowd into an absolute frenzy. However, the script took a wild turn in the second half when Balogun was shown a straight red card after VAR showed that it was a reckless challenge and an awful foul. A lot of people are saying that it was a bad call, but I think it was a fair call to say the least, because there was no way for Balogun to come out with a reckless tackle like that. That is my take on the situation. That meant that the Americans had to play with 10 men for the final 25 minutes. And instead of panicking and dropping deep into defense, the 10-man USA, I beg your pardon, remained in compact composure, somehow frustrated the Bosnia attackers, and then put the game to rest when Malik Tillman scored a beautiful goal in the 81st minute, 9 minutes from time, which turned out to be a massive statement of intent from the co-host, the United States of America, who now will look ahead to a massive round of 16 showdown with Belgium, while on the other hand, Bosnia, in their second ever appearance at the FIFA World Cup, their first appearance was in 2014, they should feel very proud of themselves for the achievements, despite the fact before this game, a couple of American journalists caused some serious mischievous nonsense on social media with their over-the-top statements, which really riled up football fans all over the place. But that being said, I won't talk about all the nonsense in this video, because that's all the time we have, ladies and gentlemen, for this episode. We'll be back next time to review the final batch of round of 32 matches, including Capo Verde versus Argentina, Australia versus Egypt, and Ghana versus Colombia. That's the last 3 games in the round of 32. The round of 16 are almost set and ready. That's all the time I have for this. Remember to be very good, be cool, and also watch, listen, learn, or should I say, watch your surroundings all the time. And most importantly, check in with your friends and family to see if they're okay, because sometimes they won't be feeling all right. And then the most thing more powerful than hate is love. We're supposed to be loving one another, or as what Bob Barker would always say, help control the pet population, have your pets bathed and neuter, Or as what Richard Dawson would always say, God bless all the children of the world. Or should I say, God bless the millions of people around the world. And please, to those who are causing terrorism, stop the fighting. Enough is enough. Till we meet again, goodbye and thank you for watching.